All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Q&A, your daily dose of Coffee Q&A here on the OnoCoffee channel. I'm Jay, your host, and good to see all of you. How's it going? It is, the 5th of February, 2026, and I think we're in a little bit better mood than yesterday's stream. So what was it? A couple weeks ago, somebody was talking about, maybe it was Power Plant, or somebody was saying that, hey, there's this thing called the Hoop Brewer from Ceado, and I was like, what? Hoop Brewer? I never heard of that. But I was like, okay, let's look it up. So I looked it up, and I found one, and because whoever it was said that it was only available Amazon Japan. So I looked up Amazon Japan, and I found it, the Hoop Brewer. And then I was like, well, I wonder if it's on. Then Amazon Japan, so here's the thing, right now in the Japanese Postal Service has stopped shipments to the United States, parcel shipments, because of all this hoopla with this government and our usurious tariffs that are happening around the world. And it's made it very difficult. Actually, one of the vendors that I've dealt with in Tokyo no longer ships to the United States as well. They stopped shipment. Japan Post has stopped shipment. So I wasn't sure. Plus, there's tariffs being added to everything. So I'm like, well, $40 thing. How much? If they charge 20% in tariffs, then I'm going to pay, whatever that is, $60, not $60, but 50 something. And I was like, Then I looked up on Amazon America, and it turns out there's one. And I was like, okay, there's one about the same price, maybe like $4 less. Actually, I think it was like $32, $31.40, and then. So I ordered that, and it just took a long time to get here. They probably shipped it from Asia or something, because it took like 2 weeks. So I don't know. Power Plant says, onward and upward, that's for sure. Mom, good morning to you. NB, you can still get things from Japan without using any parcel service besides. Yeah. So on that point, I just paid a tariff invoice on to DHL, because I did end up ordering some products from a new vendor in Tokyo that should arrive today. So I was really surprised, because we had been talking about placing this order for a few days, since last week. So finally and then we finally did all the money transfers and everything to get the product. And here it's the 5th of February. It will be tomorrow. Well, right now it's midnight. It is midnight on the 6th of February in Japan. So I called him Monday. So that was the 3rd. It's like this big difference. So I saw he placed the order on the 4th. It's funny, because he processed the shipment, and the DHL picked up the package 4:45 on the 4th of February. And of course it flies back. I just kind of thought it was curious, because the next day, when it was here, the 4th of February here, there was they give you this stream of emails from DHL to let you know this customs clearance has happened and this is clearance. And so, it's always funny to get those emails, because it's like 4:45 it was shipped. They received the package, and then at 2 in the morning on February 4th in the United States, they do another part of the process, so it happens before. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yes, you can get packages still through DHL. They charge me, how much do they charge me? Let's see. They charge me almost 20% in tariffs. So. If you're I'm actually on the East Coast, so and they say, and DHL tells me it'll be here today. And I was like, "Oof, that's pretty good." I was like, "All right." I thought about it. I was all prepared to wait a week, but anyway, so yeah. So if based on my experience with this and my vendor shipping via DHL and what the Power Plant is saying here, there are ways to ship, but now it's going to cost you more. Like, even my vendor was like, the tariff on these products has usually been 6.5% in the past, but nobody ever paid it. I mean, they never charged it. So until this past year, So now it's like, oh gosh, is it cheaper to fly there and pick it up myself? No, but infinitely more fun. Infinitely would be more fun. Thank you, Naomi. I appreciate that. I finally had enough of that longer hair, and I was like, I can't do it anymore. So I drove. I was like, in the afternoon, I was like, I got to get a haircut. So I went to one of the barbers here. Great guy. Turns out my barber is the great nephew of my old barber from the 90s. I met this guy, Enrico. Enrico was this, by the time that I met Enrico in 1997, he was already very old. Like he was old and like a little bit shaky. But I love this guy. This old Italian guy, immigrated to the United States, like probably born around 1920, 1919, because my guy, Mike, his grandfather, Enrico's brother, was like born in 1919. He told me, I asked him. And so they must be very similar in age. Immigrated to the United States and did haircuts and were barbers. And, and I totally didn't know that. I was like, wow, really? You guys are married? That's crazy. But like this Enrico, like he was the first guy that I ever went to that like to shave the neck, with a razor, with a straight razor. And I remember the very first time we did it, I was pretty like nervous because I'd never had it done before. But his thing was always like, with a heavy Italian accent, you must shave the neck. And he was always very adamant that the hallmark of a quality cut was the shaving of the neck. And I got to say, after having the neck shaved many, many times, I'm like, that is like one of the best things about getting a haircut at certain places. Yeah. Great guy. Great times. Great times. He passed away many years ago. But he was one of those old Italian guys who would make their own wine in their basements. And we were talking about it one day, and he was like, and then one time I came in, he brought me a jug of it. He's like, I wanted you to have this. I was like, I actually still have some of it. I wonder if it's any good. Power Plant says, they're clearing stuff while it's still on the plane now. Yeah, I'm really, I was so curious about it because it was $4:45 to pick up from Tokyo. And, I'm just thinking of like my flight schedules coming from Tokyo, right? If I'm flying back to the United States, usually the flight is around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then we fly overnight to Chicago. And then with Chicago, I'm usually home by the next day afternoon. Is that right? Usually I'm back by the afternoon. Yeah, because we get back. Yeah, because I think the flight comes in the United States in the morning. Yeah, it comes in about 9:30 in the morning to Chicago because the flight back to Tokyo from Chicago is normally around 11. So they have about 2 hours to turn the plane around. So it comes around 9, turns around, goes back at 11. So 9, you can be home. I could be back in Baltimore by 1 p.m. if I time it all tight. Russell's with us. What's going on, Russell? How are you? And George, what's going on, George? How are you, man? Good to see you. Oh, George has a Hoop Brewer. Turns out the Hoop Brewer has been out for like 2 years. I found this video from Ceado, and they were like, it was dated 2 years ago. And then I found another video from Whole Latte Love that goes into it. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. So let's, here it is. Here it is. This is the box. Now, the one that I found is from a company on Amazon. This is the one that I bought. OTDOGUO, right here. OTDOGUO. Oops. OTDOGUO. They make all kinds of stuff. like look at this. They have a whipped cream charger, which is kind of cool. They've got circuit board, amplifier boards, like a weather station. So who knows what they do? They do everything. But they had this, and here's the thing. So I didn't realize that this might not have been the true Ceado, right? If you watch the Whole Latte Love video, the guy's like, it's made in Venice. And it's like, oh yeah, Ceado's from Italy, probably in Venice. I don't recall, but yeah, that makes sense. But then I was thinking, are the Italians really making plastic molded stuff? Or are they having it shipped, made in China? So if I look here, I was looking through here, right? And I was looking at and I just thought I'd look at reviews for whatever reason. And here's this dude who says, I thought this would be a Hoop knockoff, but it seems to be genuine Hoop Brewer, but the coffee-loving readers are coffee brewing experience evolved through the hardware, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that's not important. That's not. You can read that if you want. It's on Amazon.com. But he says it's the real deal. And actually, on the illustration, he takes a picture and looks like it has. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what's in it. Let's look inside here. I have not opened this. So it says here that, oh, why is that not on? Does that look too tight? Maybe it looks too tight. I feel like it looks. I haven't really looked at myself since I got the haircut. It feels. Maybe it's too tight. Anyway, we've got 15 grams. So the inventor suggests 15 grams, 250 grams, then find your own rules and create. I got my own recipe there, pal. Thank you. And then how to brew the hoop, coffee, water, brew, which is easy enough. Filter pack. I'm glad it has filter papers. Yeah, there we go. So let's open it up and see what is inside. Oh. Hoop. It does say hoop. Look, it says hoop. It does not say the hoop Ceado. Like the ones that you see from the videos, it actually has Ceado written on it. It does not have this. It does have these paper filters. Now, they were saying that the paper filters are pretty much the same size as, whoops, the AeroPress filters. They look slightly smaller. I'm going to take it out of the package, but in there, they look slightly smaller. How many of you guys have it? I know George says he has one. And who else has them? Oh, it does say Hoop. Look at that. It says Hoop Coffee Brewer. But it does not say Hoop by Ceado. Maybe these are the guys that are actually making them for Ceado. Or maybe they're knockoffs. I don't know. But as long as it works, it should be fine. Now, the one that I saw from Whole Latte, like the Ceado video is really like corporate video-y, so they kind of they gloss over everything. But the guys from Whole Latte Love, they were kind of like going into it. So the one from Ceado has 12 holes in this. So we're going to look here, and we're going to count the holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoa. Ah. Gosh. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11? What? Oh, yeah, so I think we start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that is, oh, and the interesting thing is that if you look here, like, I don't know if, yeah, so I just noticed this. Look at the spacing. Like, there's the spacing here, and then there's the spacing here. That is farther spacing than these two. So it's like they're grouped in twos. So these two are closer together than these two, and then these two are closer together than these two. So there must be some reason that has been that way. And otherwise, from what I was watching, it's very simple. You take the filter, you put the filter in here, and let's see, the AeroPress filter should fit in here. AeroPress filter fits. Oh yeah, it fits in. It's a little bit. See, it gets a little bit. It's not perfect, right? It's slightly. I think it is slightly larger. Let's open up our hoop papers. Okay, this is where my OCD starts to really. Let's cut it here. We're going to cut it. See, I like to cut things because I'm just precious like that. Okay, so this is the Ceado. This is the filter. Oh, they're slightly smaller. There is a slight, like, I don't even know, 0.5 millimeter difference between, but it is. The AeroPress is slightly bigger, just by like a fraction of an inch. So I presume that's going to make it so that when I put this in here, yeah, see, there's no buckling of the paper, and then you put this here, screwed in. It's all screwed in, and then that should tension this on top. It's like a drum. Oh, it is like a drum. Now, let's see. How well this AeroPress filter tensions. Now, see, you can see there's a buckling, right? There's some buckling. Like, it's not exactly the same. Like, Ceado or whoever made this could have made it the same, but they didn't. Oh, but it still tensions well. Actually, I kind of like this whole idea of tensioning your filter so you can use it as a drum. But we're going to try the Ceado filter first. So put this back in again. Oh, that feels looser now. Oh, it will pop out. So, oh, maybe I wasn't tightened down enough. I didn't tighten down enough. Maybe make sure. I think we'd have to make sure that we tighten it down enough, all the way down so that it cinches. Oh, did I break it? Oh, there we go. Maybe I was cross-threading it. Much better, much better. Okay, good. Good morning to you, Maku. How are you doing? And Russell's with us. What's going on, Russell? Powerplant says, looks like a Canadian company or Chinese company that violates patent law in their factory. Replacement filters might be an issue. Who knows if they even designed, who knows if Ceado even designed it? Maybe Ceado got them to make it for them. Who knows? Anton says, the dog bowl. No, he says, I do not have it, but might be interested. I could make 2 cups of coffee. Actually, from what they were saying, that it's really designed to have 1. I mean, it looks big enough. You could probably put 2. I don't know why well, 700, we're talking 700 grams of water now. I mean, that's a lot. But we can see, Anton says, Rao recommends 18 dose, very coarse grind. Huh. Interesting. I hope you got the Rao filter papers. The original ones are slow as, oh my, okay. We're going to try it. We're going to use our normal recipe, 24 grams, 350 milliliters of water, and we're going to grind it to like a because so I think from what I've seen, this is supposed to do some kind of immersion stuff. I don't even know. I guess it's not I mean, it's, what do they call it? They called it, they had a great term for it, and I used it in the title of the show, and now I don't recall what I put the title in, but something rapid immersion, reverse immersion, whatever immersion, some ritual immersion. I don't know. I can't remember. I thought it was a good term, and I was like, okay, I'm going to use that. But it's this. So the idea is that the coffee you put here in the center. You just put it in there, just leave it in there. I guess you could shake it, but I don't know if that even makes a difference. Like, when we're pouring coffee, we flatten the coffee out. We like to flatten the coffee. Here, the holes are right here. Right, the holes are like right there. So they're right at the bottom of this thing, this cup, this bowl, this dog bowl. And you pour the water in, and you just pour the water in. Like, you don't have to be very, you don't have to do anything. You just pour the water in, and then the dam, the walls act like a dam, and these holes around it let the water through to immerse the coffee, and then it just drips out the bottom here into whatever vessel you're using. And I gotta say, when you guys were talking about it before, I was like, what are you guys talking about? This is more dumb brewing devices meant to separate you from your money. And as I was watching the video yesterday, I was like, oh man, that sounds like a great idea. What was it? The guy that did the whole latte love video, he's like, you might want to tweak this and tweak that. I was like, I don't want to tweak. If I was to ever sell, if I had a retail shop again and I was to sell this, I would not be telling people to tweak this. Let's presume at this moment that this is going to brew a great cup of coffee. If it can brew very enjoyable coffee, forget the great part, but if it can brew very enjoyable coffee for very little effort, wow, that could be really great. Like imagine all these people out there, like, you know, like all of you are part of the initiated, right? So you're not, the idea of sitting there with this golden brewer and this, you know, really delicate pot, and you're doing all of this thing, right? This is not foreign to you, right? Like you're dedicated, like you're going up for it. Like I'm gonna pour 22.625 milliliters of water in this pour, wait 30 seconds, and then pour again. You know, whatever the recipe that you're using. Like you're part of the initiative. You know all of this, right? Like this is not unusual. But for the consumer, the average person out there is that's like, you know, everybody tells me Starbucks sucks. Everybody tells me that, you know, 8 o'clock coffee sucks and that I should do better quality coffee. But look at those guys. Like they got to buy this $60 brewer. They got to get this $100 kettle. They got to get all this other gear, $250 grinder. This potentially could be you buy nice quality coffee, have it ground at your coffee roaster, and you scoop it in, and then you pour hot water, and you're done. Like you don't need a kettle. Like I got this big kettle, and I'm boiling the water in it. That's all you need, right? You just pour it into it. How much easier can that be for the average person? And I think that's actually, as I was, you know, watching these videos, trying to understand how it works, that really got me excited about it. I was like, oh, fascinating, fascinating. Espresso Bikes with us. What's going on, man? How are you? Radical. Oh, Radical. Thank you. I knew it was something like that. Radial. No, it's Radial, because it's radial, right? I like the Radical, though. Radical brewing with radial infusion. Oh. Anton says, keep a WTT or something comparable to ready to break the crust. So in that video, as that guy is making it in the whole Latte Love video, I have a link down to below in case you want to see it. I'm watching him brew it, and I was looking at the video. I was like, you know what, man? I thought about you. I don't necessarily about you, but I remember I was thinking, like, I wonder, like, if I don't know. I can't remember now if it was like a eureka moment or if it was one of those snide or, you know, moments when you're just kind of making snide thoughts about like, oh, I bet those precious guys would be using a WDT, right? Because instead of just using a spoon to, you know, because, you know, as the coffee brews, right? As the coffee brews, the water's I guess the idea is that right. So the water line is here. The bottom of the thing is here. So the coffee is sitting, I guess, either right below the water line where the ports are, or it's right at the same level. So there is going to be some blooming. And I was thinking about, well, how do you knock down the bloom, right? So I was thinking, what about a spoon? And then I did think at one point, like, oh, or maybe it wasn't a snide remark. Maybe it was a thought of like, oh, this is where I can see maybe a WDT could come in handy for doing this kind of thing, right? Maybe. I'm still saying maybe. So we're going to try that. We're going to try all of this and see what we can see with this. Anton says it's a great brewer to get clean baseline cups. Definitely better for clean coffees. Okay, excellent. The ceiling, however, is higher. The ceiling is, however, higher with other no or low bypass brewers, Swerks, and the Pulsar. You mean like the ceiling to enter? Is that what you mean? I would agree with that. Is there even a brewer out there, says Naomi, that for 2 to 3 cups, but not standalone, like a Mr. Coffee? I want something I can throw into a drawer when I'm done. We maybe we'll try that at some point, but this is a fairly tall, right, piece in here. So, you know, if we're using 24 grams per cup, like there's no way that's going to be too much for this. So I can't see why 48 grams would be a problem to hold in here. Now, you know, you're pouring it in and you're filling the bowl. So let's say you fill the bowl and it brews, You would definitely, I think because of the, I'm theorizing now, just totally like, we're totally riffing, right? We're riffing on this, right? So you would have, I would think you would want to like, I think I'd want to get a little bit more, instead of like a WDT that's just kind of dainty and like precious, I think you'd want a proper spoon so you could scoop it down and really like rotate so that, because, you know, the water is coming in down here and your coffee bed's going to be higher than that. So you really want to, I would think you'd want to agitate it to get exposure, right? To make sure all of this up, the higher level coffee gets wet and starts to extract. I think that would be my thought on it. I mean, there's also nothing, there's also probably nothing to stop you. Let's say you put the coffee, so now I would think for like that much coffee, we'd want to grind pretty coarse. But you put the water, maybe the thing is to put the water in here, fill it up, and you're using a scale so you know you're 700 grams. Fill it up, then fill this interior up so you get the brewing here, because all of it has to come out here. Right now, the thing is, you just want to get it so that you got a grind that will brew in your 4 to 5 minutes. You know, especially for a 2-cup serving. That's how I'm theorizing it might be done. Did I get everyone's thoughts? It's a no bypass percolation. Ah, okay. PowerPoint says also the Chemex can do so. The Chemex we will use like I standardize with the 6-cup Chemex, and mainly just because I didn't want to carry anything else. And you know, the 8-cup is cool, the single cup is cool too, but like, you know, when you're talking about cafe operations, you know, the 8 is just too big. But the 6 will do 2 cups. 2 of our cups, 48 ounces, fairly well. Nobody says, really? I've even tried brewing 2 cups at once in a V60. I mean, I would think that like with the V60, so it's always about the resistance of the coffee to the water when it comes to brewing, right? So you're trying to, and if we come up to the agreement that right around 4 minutes is going to be the ideal brew time, it's always a matter of managing that. Like even on big commercial brewers, we're still trying to run it, even a 1.5 gallon brew, we're trying to run it at 5 minutes, right? So and we're talking like, you know, 256 grams of coffee. I mean, for a gallon, it's 256 grams of coffee. You're talking a tremendous amount of coffee that we're grinding fairly fine, fairly coarse, compared to, let's say, if we brewed the same coffee in a V60. Even in a V60, I would think that like if you wanted to do double cup, 48 grams of coffee, you would have to go fairly coarse than what you're normally used to in order to get that flow rate through the coffee bed and the filter, right? And one of the problems I think with like a V60 type filter, or maybe even this one, is that it may get fairly clogged. The filters all get reduced in efficiency because of the amount of like really, really minor sediment that's getting caught up inside the filter material. So the more sediment that builds up, the greater the resistance, the more slow the brew becomes, and then the greater the potential for over extraction for the remainder of your brew. Now, there may be ways around that, bypass or whatever, to add water to the coffee afterwards. But those are some of the issues that you may face. But that's one thing to think. If you wanted to try to use, let's say, like the V60 for larger batches, that's probably something to consider if that's what you'd like to try. Anton says, WDT is less cleanup than spoon. Yes, I agree. Well, is it less? So it's like, see, maybe it's my OCD, right? But you know, like I've got all these like prickly needles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like there's 6 needles here. like I want to clean them. Like I want to make sure they're clean, which I think will take, I want to clean, you know, it's craziness. So you don't, so maybe just rinse under hot water. If that could work, that could work. All right, let's try brewing with this. Now, they say that this bottom here is too big for most servers. Like in this Hario knockoff, it's not perfect. Like it just, look at that. It's a little bit tight. Like it will work. It will work. It might be, depending on how much water or how weighty it could be. It could be a little bit wobbly. And then let's see our Yama server. That's the Yama. Yama fits almost. Oh no, not there. Okay. They might have decided to make it a little. I wonder why they made it so big. Oh, I guess because you want to fit a 2.5-inch filter. That's why you had to do it. So otherwise, how else would you fit it? Now, I do suspect that the Kogu brewer will work. Oh yeah. Now, the only difference here is that there's this lip that's hanging down, right? It's this curved lip here. It's curved. That does touch the handle, right? So there is slight rotation, but overall, it's relatively well seated on the Kogu. But I don't think that these are designed. I don't think the intention for this is to use these things, right? These are, again, we're back to the preciousness of coffee. Like, all the precious people want to put coffee in there and they want to brew it and they want to make it all lovely. But I think really what these are designed for are, mugs for normal people to make coffee simply without too much thinking. So you can put all of this in there, put your water, and then be done with it. And then you take this, throw it away, and then you're ready to go instead of having to sit there and then you're going to like do this and this and then this. Why? We just bypass that, right? Like when I'm brewing at home, like for myself, meaning, right, like here at home, and I'm brewing just for me, I never use this. This is only for television, right? I brew directly into the mug. Because, less to clean, right? Less to clean. But since we are on television, or at least on a phone somewhere, maybe riding around the subway car, we are going to do, using one of these, we're going to use our lovely scale here, the Fellow not the Fellow Tally Pro SE with our Japanese measuring cup. I don't know if I told you about this, but I saw these, I saw the cats over at Omotesando Coffee using these for measuring their coffee, their beans, and I was like, that is a really nice looking measure. And so I found these. They sell these are everywhere, I guess, in Japan. I bought these at Tokyo Hands. I was like, oh, they're like maybe like, I don't know, $2. So I was like, oh, I bought a couple of those. So they're really kind of nice. They're graduated. So there's, what is that? 50, 75, 125. 100, 125 milliliters. There's like a gentle spout, nozzle spout. Very, very nice. I never use it for those things. I just use it to weigh coffee. And then we're going to use our espresso blend because that's what we've had here for a while. So we're going to weigh out 24 grams. We're going to follow our normal recipe as always. 24. I don't care what they say. 24.1, that's good enough. Anton says, Naomi, well, I'm not sure. I understand what you're looking for. With V6, you just brew 250 milliliters into a server, and that would be considered 2 cups. No. My friend, you're forgetting you're talking to people from America. Right, like 125 milliliters for a cup of coffee. No, my friend, that is just too small. Like 125 milliliters, like this in America, this is coffee. This is espresso for European like weirdos, right? This is what we wanted. That's why. So when you hear like here in America, we have this measurement, like cup measurements, right? They say 4 cups, 4-cup brewer. Yeah, no, that's like 2 cups here. That's like 2 cups. So yeah, everything is bigger. Remember that everything here is bigger. So yeah, that I get what you're both saying. I get what you're both saying. But now he says Chemex makes sense, but too precious. I want to throw it. Oh, you want to throw the Chemex? They might make a plastic Chemex. Somebody might make a plastic knockoff that could work. You could just use a French press. I think that's a good one. A plastic V60 is another way to go. Yeti makes one that is double wall insulated. Oh yeah, but that's hella expensive. Hella expensive. And I saw that at the stores. And I was like, man, I think it's like $80 some. Maybe it's $120. I don't know however much it was. It was so expensive. I was like, that's just too expensive to make French press. Like that's just too much. Too much for me. Anton says there are 3 sizes. Oh, 3 sizes of the Hario V60. Yes, they do make 3 sizes. Power Plant says they have a lot of stainless craftsmen in Japan. He says I'm looking at the different sizes of V60 after the live stream. I don't think the largest V60 is that. I mean, it is probably, no, we have the 0260s. There's an 01, maybe there's an 0460. I don't recall anymore. Power Plant says the company that owns Kogu does a lot of, oh yes, I see their stuff. It's very, very nice. Which I can't remember their name at the moment. Power Plant says most Americans wants 350 to, yeah, 350. Well, if I'm going to make a coffee, like I may not, like me personally, I may not finish this, but that's how much I'm going to make. Like if I'm just like if I was at the shops and we have like big batch brewers, I'll like get maybe like 8 ounces of coffee, and then maybe not finish that. But like if I'm going to brew a coffee, it's always like, unless it's espresso, then that's a little bit different. Then we're just being precious. Power Plant says, but the people who get the big coffee sizes at the gas station are the real, yeah, they are the real heroes. That is true. Non-rich Hario papers are nice as Anton's. Otherwise, maybe try the different papers from Cafec. Oh, that's a good choice. That's a good choice too. And it doesn't really matter if it's too small. And Power Plant's asking, is YouTube censoring my Big Joe comments? I would think so, because I don't see anything about Big Joe anywhere here. All right, let's brew, because we're just talking a lot. I'm going to get my trusty Barazza Virtuoso, because it has yet to fail. Oh, here's an interesting thing. So my friend Matt, who's also in the coffee business, we were hanging out yesterday, and he was telling me like he had this fellow Aiden, the brewer, the big batch, the home brewer, and a O Gen 2, brand new, still in a box that he had. He replaced the Aiden. This was the 5th one they sent him because it kept on bricking. And I guess this is his 3rd Gen 2 Ode. He took them, received them, never opened the box. And he was just like, I'm just getting rid of them. Sold them. The guy took it home, failed. I was like, wow, that's crazy. I don't know what's going on with those guys, but it's terrible. All right, we're going to brew our coffee now. And like yesterday, we have the grinder set. And I'm going to go a little bit on the, just medium, but just a click or 2 clicks to the coarser side of 20. 20 would be the medium setting, the center. Really nothing to see. It's not very exciting. But one thing is that, as you can see, the thing about the Virtuoso is that it is a little bit slower, significantly slower than the O Gen 2 as far as speed for 24 grams. Now there is a scale, like I said, on this Isato attachment that you really, oh man, now that I moved it, it changed. It actually had a readout that said 24.0. Okay, so we're going to take our brewer. Here we go. And there it is. I'm going to take the coffee. I am going to shake it. So the level of the water of the coffee in the container is above the base of this, right? I did get a little bit of grinds inside the bowl. I don't think that's necessarily a big deal, even if it flows through. I mean, the potentially could clog one of the holes, which is could be problematic. But I'm gonna if it even flows through, there's still the paper filter under here that is holding it in position, right? So we're going to, maybe I will do a little glamour shot while we're here. All right, now, let me just make sure the water is hot enough for us. I mean, the thing that I'm interested to see is that there's such, it should be fairly easy to brew with this thing. Like, let me, so setting it up, we're going to, we've had 234 grams of, okay, let's do this again. Zero that out. Now we're going to add 250 grams of coffee. Ugh, that's even worse. Oh, come on. Let's go back to this container. Okay, that's better. 24 point. We lost a little bit. We lost it. Oh, here we can put this back in. Okay, now 24.1. And then we can hit that. Hit that. Now we're going to brew. And now it's just going to, and we're just going to bring it to 349 grams. You don't even have to be like gentle. You don't have to wait. You just pour, pour, pour. Look, it's even rising here in the center. Oh, it is rising. Whoa, look at that. Okay, so my theory before, oops. My theory before was completely off. The flow's already started to happen. There we go, 349. We've got a little bit of top here. Let's do our precious, I mean, it's already starting to flow. Now, all the water is, going down there, so we want to make sure we break it down. See, there was a lot floating on top. So we want to WDT it. Now I'm going to homogenize it so that now when we have crema here on the top, you can see there's been some backflow. If you can see, there's a little bit of like, there was a little bit of like coloration coming out of the holes. But you can see here, it's just flowing down. Minute and just over a minute. And then we say, well, it looks like this Radial brew will have higher extraction. They say it does. I think it's a little bit like the guys from Whole Latte Love were like, I think it was like 1.7% more higher extraction. No one's asking, where's the AeroPress funnel? I know, totally need that. Proplan says, I would have already considered binning the hoop. That's not the hoop's fault. crazy, but the coffee is pretty fresh. Like it's within 2 weeks now. I mean, it's from a roast I did a couple weeks ago, I think. If you do it crazy, you get backflow. I saw that. I saw that. $2.15. I mean, it's going fairly well, I think. Although, you know, even though there's been backflow, I don't know if that really makes much a difference, if any. $2.38. Oh, I don't have the... Anton says the flow sounds good. First try success. Maybe it's over the recommended limit of... No, I don't think it's over the recommended limit of ground coffee. I think this should be perfectly fine. Now we are getting to 330. There's still a little bit of water here. So this is where I was saying I think that we're getting to a point where the flow rate has definitely... Oh, yeah, it's now down to a trickle, mainly because I think partially because, you know, the filter is going to be getting more clogged from the coffee residue or the sediments. And also, I think here on the sides, right, look at that. I don't know if there's enough weight for the water to flow through those holes, right? I think that's where we're going to start running into issues here. Yeah. Huh. All right, so we're going to stop. I'm not going to stop and leave this. Wow, there's quite a bit of water left in here. I don't think it's going to go any faster. I don't think it's going to continue on. So we're just going to stop. Pour that out. Oh, okay, don't pour it out. That was a mistake. I poured it out, and then all the because that slurry is still slurry rather than a puck or a drier amount of particulate. All of it came out of the sink, and now I'm going to have a lot more to clean before I can actually start to wash anything later. But let's have a look at our coffee here. This is our Hoop Brew. If you hear a beeping, that's nothing to worry about. Just something might explode. Speaking of explosions, I use this butane burner stovetop thing. I just saw a report from Asia today. They were like, a news article, they were like, I guess because it's wintertime, so a lot of people are taking pots that are bigger, right, than the grates. So they're over the size of the actual burner. And evidently, if your pot goes over the is bigger than the grate and overhangs the bottle, the butane can, that excessive heat can heat the can to the point that it explodes. Evidently, they've had these things explode recently in China. So if you're using them, do be careful, just in case. There's safety valves in them, but like evidently it's one of those situations where it's heating the canister faster, and then the canister, of course, is liquefied butane, and there's a safety valve in these things that's supposed to let it out if the pressure builds to a certain point. But evidently, the way the heat is being transferred from these bigger pots onto the canister, it actually supposedly it reaches a temperature where it starts to vaporize the butane, and vaporizing butane, it expands. Like, I don't know what the expansion rate, but let's say like water's vaporization expansion rate is like 1,600 times the water itself. So it expands too rapidly for the safety valves to react, and then it blows up and not very pleasant. Quite a bit bitter. First thing, I get a lot of bitterness in the front. Dark chocolate. There is some of that brightness that we've had in other cups, like with the stainless. I mean, good. First brew. I'm a little bit concerned about the whole system, right? Like it, I mean, the holes sit pretty far down. Like you can kind of see it here, right? Like the holes are right at the base. So, but it does, you know, there is that slowdown. So I don't know if that's a question of perhaps the holes are getting clogged, because I did have some coffee in here, maybe. But I do think that perhaps the filter is like, oh yeah, look at this one. I just kind of knocked everything out. And as you can see here at the bottom, it's all sludge. So that's going to be a big hindrance to the flow of the coffee. That's why we reached the point where it's really slowed down, and that's something to concern yourself with. Maybe perhaps like what we mentioned, someone mentioned earlier about coarser ground coffee. That could be a good way to go. Again, it's always about trying to get the right resistance to the coffee so that you get the full extraction or exposure of the water to the coffee in a certain amount of time, right? Anton says, I think the most I brewed was like 34 grams. There's not much weight. Just leave it. I'm impatient. I'm impatient. But also, part of the reason why I wanted to pull it, because we're going to push past 4 minutes, and the longer you go, of course, the more extraction that's happening in the water that is resisted. So I just wanted to try to keep it as simple. The water will draw down properly. It's just more about a matter of time rather than waiting for it to draw down. Naomi says, I think you would unscrew the middle. Well, yes, it will fall out the bottom. Like if you watch those videos, they talk about how they will take their hoop and, well, there's no weight on this now, but basically it just kind of falls out like that. I wasn't necessarily trying to do that. I was just trying to dump out the water that was in the bowl so that I could do that. But, you know, things just don't work out on live television. If I'm making an edited video, I can make it look perfect. They're like no problems. Like I'm a genius. Like like I would be a coffee god. But since I'm not, and we're doing it live, you get to see all the mistakes. Anton says, unfortunately, rinsing the inner chamber with hot water is not enough to remove the coffee residue. You have to wipe it off. Oh. Really? Oh, well, that's easy. I think, you know, from what I had seen, I mean, to me, this seems like a very easy cleanup. I mean, perhaps not as easy as the AeroPress, just simply hitting it and then wiping it. This probably takes a little bit more, like the backflow that we got here, or the excess coffee that fell in to the bowl. You probably want to clean that up. And then, like in this case, I don't know if this would be typical of the results you'd get, but there is some dirt there. So you'd want to wash all of that off. But I think that if you can get some nice results out of the brew, like this is a small price to pay of quote unquote inconvenience for the convenience of brewing nice coffee without really any effort. Like there's no effort in that. That's just put the coffee in, put the filter, put the coffee, pour the water, done. Like that's it. Life is golden. And once you tune in your grind, What else is there to do? That's why I was thinking that this could be a really great thing for most consumers, that they could buy nice quality coffee, go to your local roaster, your coffee shop, buy coffee from them, have them grind it for you in the bag. Yeah, I know you guys don't like that. That's true. I get that. But for the regular person that's buying, grocery store coffee, they pay a little bit more, they have it ground. Man, suddenly their coffee game has just jumped to high levels. Power plant comes over, he's probably gonna be like, oh, you're gonna serve me that? Omote coffee that was pre-ground? Right. So power plant says would definitely benefit from a really good grinder that could do coarse with less fines. And then Yomi says, we'd like to see the real deal here. Would not suggest anyone to buy the Hoop. Really, I would totally suggest to people to buy the Hoop. I think it's a very, just on this initial thought, I think it's, for these reasons, I think it can make brewing nice quality coffee accessible to anyone, and much more accessible than any other brew that I can think of. There's, the AeroPress is probably as simple, or even the immersions, for example, let's say the Hario Switch, or the this type of Bonavita, these type, they're probably arguably as easy. But these do, well, I guess they don't. I was going to say these don't really require any kind of specialty. You can pour from all those three, you can pour directly from your kettle. So, yeah. The Clever Dripper is still the highest recommendation for most people. The Clever's good, but I would say that this one can be an alternative to the Clever. And I'm saying that as a Clever user. I use the Clever heavily. Probably the most used coffee brewer that I have is the Clever. It's my go-to. But this one, fairly simple. That's what I like it to make it simple for people. And most everything else is kind of difficult. But my initial experience here is very favorable, very favorable. And Naomi, I was saying that earlier, maybe you could put more coffee in here. I don't know if that's going to work. Right, if that coffee, when it bloomed, came really high, up to there. If we had double the amount of coffee, it might overflow. And then that could cause, if it overflowed, it would be contained by the bigger bowl, but then now we could have more issues with potential clogging of the holes as those particulates went to the bottom, something like that. Power plant says the reason Clever gets the highest rec is the filter. See, that's the thing. I also don't think that most people need to worry about filters. I think that just go to the grocery store, buy the generic milliliter number 4 bleached, and you're done. You don't need to worry too much about it. It's only those that want to take it to the nth degree that should explore all the other filters out there. I think for most people, just take it. This most important thing to me is buying the great quality coffee. Buy high quality coffee, and no matter what kind of brewing you're doing at home, no matter what level of coffee brewing you are as a coffee craft person, you buy nice quality coffee, suddenly you're going to be getting so much better results. Just, significantly better, noticeably better. Your girlfriends will be like, man, that's a pretty good coffee you're making. Definitely better than the direct that I make at home. Naomi says, I tried the Hoop, but I use the AeroPress filters. They say the AeroPress filters are thicker. Is that right? I think that's what they said. You can also use the metal filters, which kind of might be interesting. I'm not a fan of metal filters in general, but I think it might be an interesting exploration, because now the metal filters, because they do let more sediment and oils through, could give a whole different experience for the coffee. So it might be worthwhile in that respect. Plus, with that, you won't necessarily have the same kind of clogging issues we're having here with the fines. Power plant says Hoop using the proprietary filter is a drawback. It's not really proprietary if the AeroPress fits, right? So I don't know if that's really a big detraction for. Plus, you know, if you're buying AeroPress, nobody's really out there cutting their own filters from other filter paper materials. So I don't know how big of a deal that really is. And let's see how many they give us. 100. What? AeroPress now gives you 50. AeroPress. You pay more, you get less. Like you used to get this. I don't know if you still get this little tray. And they used to give you 300 filters. Like when Alan ran the company, you got enough filters for almost a year. Well, you know. Because you can go into any market and get clever sized filters is a win. That's true. Any milliliter number 4 will work. Powerplant says, yeah, but you were supposed, actually, I'm not. You're the one that brought up the AirPress. I'm supposing that the regular person is not making good quality at home. They're making it in a poor condition. And they don't necessarily want to go through all the beauty and genteelness of the way we brew coffee. So this, to me, is something that could be very appreciated by the average coffee drinking person that wants to get into would like to explore nice quality coffee at home, but just haven't because, you know, they see all these people like me on YouTube talking about, oh, you need to have beautiful coffee and you need to have this lovely Japanese unbreakable mug with super nice Radial glasses. And then we must pour in very controlled. Nobody wants it. Most people don't care about that. Most of my customers that come to Spro over the years were never took it to that level, right? So it's like this is a great way to make it easy. And that's why we sold a lot more Clevers than other brewers, because it was just super simple. Like here, put hot water in, put our coffee into it, we'll grind it for you, put the filter, put the coffee, put the hot water, wait 3 minutes, and then put it on top and wait till it drains, you're done. Super simple. I like to make things simple for the average guest, you know. Prabhupada says, I'm saying for most people who aren't buying lots of kit. Absolutely. I don't think that people should be buying that. Naomi says, I said the AeroPress. Ah, okay, there we go. There we go. All right. So that's pretty much it with the Hoop Brewer. I think it's something that's worthwhile to explore, especially for those of you who may not be too interested in doing all the fancy stuff that we all do. Like, if you don't want that, this could be a really nice way to go. So, all right. That's pretty much it for today. Back again tomorrow with more of the Coffee Q&A. Hope you have a great one. And see you next time.